Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second episode of Ask the ControlUp Platform Anything, where you ask a question and we will do our best at answering it based on the amazing data we have here within the ControlUp One platform. So we're very happy to have had a question submitted by one of you, a gentleman named Tom Cherrill, who asked us, well, let's roll the clip.
Hi, Doug and Eugene. Tom Cherrill, EUC Product Engineering at Sono here. I've got the following question for the ControlUp platform. What trends does your data show in relation to EUC software vendor market share over the past few years? So Citrix versus Horizon, Omnissa versus AVD, etc. And also the hosting platform location, on-prem versus public clouds. I guess it may be interesting to compare your findings against the results from the annual DAS Like a Pro EUC State of the Union survey. Thanks.
So hi, that's like a very logical follow-up to our first part, right? When we talked about the size of AUC deployments over time. It makes a lot of sense, and thanks, Tom, for the question. So I looked into the data a little bit, and let's just jump right into it. So let me just share my screen here. Yep. Are we good?
We're good.
Yeah. Okay. So first off, this is the percentage of ControlUp customers by main EUC technology they're using. By main EUC technology, I kind of have to explain a little bit. So I basically, for each customer, I wanted to determine what is the main, or like the largest, most widely deployed technology they have. And the reason that I did that is because we do have quite a few customers that are using multiple different technologies. And I did want to kind of label each customer with one specific main technology they're using. So that's why the word main is kind of highlighted here, because I wanted also the numbers kind of to add up, because when people are using multiple technologies, then there's weirdness with some of the numbers. So this is just a way to kind of simplify the data. So over time, basically, Citrix has risen to about 52% last year. I have to say that, the number here with 50% this year, 2025, I wouldn't make too much of this little difference between 52.8 and 50.8, because this is still a very new year and we haven't gotten the whole range of data that we'll probably get later in this year. So we'll definitely maybe revisit this later this year. But I wouldn't read too much into the drop here. There's probably not a really significant drop. We can say that there's been a bit of a rise in the Citrix share, right? Share of our customers using it as the main EUC technology since 2022. And for Horizon, we see kind of the same pattern, but their share in terms of the percentage of customers is smaller, about half, right? So we see a rise from 20 to about 26, and again a small drop here, which we'll explain a little bit. But again, I wouldn't read too much into the little drop between 24 and 25, right? So I guess the main pattern is going up. And now to the two other vendors that I looked at, which is AVD and Amazon Workspaces, right? And again, I have to remind, this is just our data set. This is the way the prism through which we see the world, right? So with regards to our customer base, what we're seeing is, yeah, we do see an uptake in AVD, and the 7/6% of our customers are currently using AVD as their main EUC technology. More on that in a little bit. And with regards to Amazon Workspaces, again, about 1%, right? So of all the customers. This is we're just count. This is just the percentage of customers. So we're just counting every customer as a relative share of the total number of customers that we have. So this is not regarding the sizes of the deployments, right? So a small customer and a large customer are counted the same over here. So just to present a different take on the same kind of statistic, so I'm looking also at the number of different computers, right? So we're monitoring millions of machines, and those machines are basically either Citrix, Horizon, AVD, or workspaces. They can't be both, right? So here the picture is a little bit different. It's interesting that Horizon and Citrix kind of split this pie almost equally, half and half. And AVD is actually, like at the end of 24, the share of AVD machines in the entire load that we're monitoring is actually a little bit bigger, right? It's 5% versus the 1% of customers, right? So I thought that the split here between Citrix and Horizon in terms of the number of machines is actually interesting, but it's probably due to the fact that we have a little bit bigger customers, just happen to have a little bit of bigger customers with Horizon, right? So yeah, so this is pretty much the picture. I don't want to go too deep into like analyzing or telling stories about this, because I do want to invite people to react to this and say what do they see in those numbers and how does it resonate with what you're seeing in the market. But I do want to say that basically the straightforward story here is that AVD is picking up a little bit, right? People are kind of evaluating it, right? And some customers have already adopted it as the main delivery technology, but the main vendors, Citrix and Horizon/Omnissa these days still dominate this UC market, right? They're still there, and the movement away from that is going to be slow, right? It's not going anywhere, not fast anyway. Which brings me to this next slide, in which I just presented the number of customers currently evaluating AVD or Amazon workspaces, right? So we saw that in terms of like the percentage of customers that are actually using AVD as their major or main EUC technology, that's about what was the specific percent here? So yeah, we were talking about 6%, right? And or managed machines, that's about 5%. And while the ones evaluating AVD, we're talking about 22%, right? So about a fifth of our customer base is actually looking into or have some resources spun on AVD, probably for evaluation purposes, or they may be looking into it, right? And this is a similar picture with workspaces, is that we have about 5% of customers looking into or have some resources spun up on Amazon workspaces, versus just 1% or even less that are actually using it as the main delivery technology. So that maybe is a sign for something, right? So that people are actually looking at those technologies and evaluating them. And that's pretty much these are the main trends that we're seeing in the EUC vendor, EUC DAS vendor space over the last couple of years.
That is absolutely wonderful, Eugene. I thank you so much for sharing these numbers. I find it interesting about the growth of AVD and Amazon workspaces. Although it's small, you see it ticking up. And then of course, this last slide that we see on the screen today, this one's really interesting. And do you think that these people are truly evaluating? Do you think it's could be secondary projects? What's your view around that?
It's actually hard to know that just from the numbers. We're trying
Sure.
just to look at the just at the dry numbers and then tell stories about them. But the thing is that like I mentioned, we have some examples of customers who have more than one main delivery technology. And when I'm seeing a given example of someone who has, say, I don't know, 10,000 Citrix seats, and then on the side, I also see there's a couple of hundreds of AVD machines. There's only a limited number of stories you can tell about that. My simpler interpretation about that is, yeah, in some way or another, they're trying it out. They're seeing if it's for them or not. There's another thing which I didn't put on here, but I did look at it, and this is kind of interesting. I wasn't comfortable talking about the actual number of machines that I'm seeing, but I do think it's an interesting finding. The fact that the number of machines for the people who have some AVD or AWS workspaces, the number of machines that they have actually running up and running fluctuates quite a great deal, right? People do spin up, sometimes cut it back. You see more machines, and you see less machines, and you see more machines again, and then less again. And this is something you don't see with on-prem deployments, right? With on-prem deployments, it's pretty much, like we talked about last time, we saw the numbers last time. Pretty much the size of the deployment is, like it went up during COVID, and then it cut down like we talked about. But basically, in most environments where they have like terminals like RDSH and server-based, basically the number of machines kind of stay the same. They don't tend to decommission servers as fast as they provision new ones when there's a need for growth. So by nature, the on-prem deployments are more static and they're more fixed size, whereas in the cloud-based scenario, you kind of already can see this flexibility. The fact that people are like increasing and decreasing, and maybe they're changing the type of the machines. Maybe they suddenly realize they need more. Maybe they like they don't like it, so they cut down, or they like it and they spin up more. So I think like that this is an interesting trend to me, and it will be interesting to see what happens with it down the road. To see what how it changes. I'm thinking that's probably not going to be the year of VDI this time, but maybe. But I am looking forward to some interesting movement in that space, specifically looking at the sizes of those deployments. How people the real measurement for the adoption of those technologies like AVD and AWS workspaces is how fast, or do they at all displace the traditional vendors from this space, or maybe create room for even other vendors to come in. So far, this is the picture that we're seeing.
I love it. I love it. We don't want to take too much time. Keep these videos short and sweet. One last question. Was there anything in this data, anything you saw that really, poked out or surprised you or made you think twice?
Oh yeah, I've thought that the number again, the number of machines with Omnissa Horizon, I would expect to be lower, because I kind of remembered the numbers of number of customers that we had. So I was expecting the number of machines to be proportionate to that, but I guess we just happen to have some large Horizon Omnissa customers. So that was a bit that was kind of a little bit surprising.
Surprised me.
Yeah.
Yeah, surprised.
Yeah. But overall, that's still the EOC space is kind of very it's a very legacy world. It's a lot of it. It's going to probably move. If it moves somewhere, it's going to do so, in a measured pace. Probably not. It's not going to be very fast. And the DaaS vendors, that's where it's more elastic and agile, and and maybe there we'll see some movement, but I'm not expecting the whole landscape here to change drastically. it's going to be a slow transition and evolution. We'll see. And I do want to, this is like some of these numbers I'm really curious to review at the end of 25.
I think we should do, I was just going to say, let's readdress this. Tom, thank you for your question. This is absolutely a great question. Let's readdress this in 6 months and then again at the end of the year and sort of see this over this process. It's a really great question. Eugene, I thank you for your time today. Thank you for doing all the work behind the scenes and not just coming here and talking about it. You're actually doing a lot of work to pull out this data and present it to us. Folks watching, please, if you like this, if you don't like it, no matter what, ask us a question. Ask the ControlUp platform anything, and we'll pull out the data and try to share it with you. And if you disagree, if you agree, leave a comment. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think, what you're seeing. Does it surprise you that there's so many Omnissa servers, Horizon servers? Does that not surprise you? What do you think the future brings? Eugene, any last words?
No, I'm actually, I'm actually enjoying doing the stats for this. I'm a stats nerd and I like those numbers. And sometimes, the like some people say, yeah, I knew that those are exactly the stats that I was expecting. That's fine. That's a great feedback for a data scientist, actually. Like if you're showing numbers, somebody says, yeah, I knew that. That's exactly what I was expecting. That's not bad news. That means that we're kind of in line with. Every once in a while you do get little surprises in the data, but it's been a very interesting journey with the data, and I think we have a lot to look forward to. And again, looking forward to you guys' questions in the comments. Definitely expecting those.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
So again, who's next? Who's going to ask what to the ControlUp platform? Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.